This is the A to Z podcast. Expert insights on leadership, business, real estate, investing, and growth.
Welcome to the podcast. You have the vision, the capital, the ambition to come to the United States and invest. The question is, how do you make sure that your vision translates into results and your capital is preserved and brings you return successfully? To do all of this and more, I have two top experts who are going to help you succeed in your effort to come to the United States legally and succeed in your efforts to be a foreign investor. These two experts, they complement to each other. I want to first introduce Lauren Cohen. She is an internationally recognized immigration lawyer who has been doing a lot of this with her clients. And also I have Tom Crumpton. He is also an internationally recognized business broker. Welcome to the podcast and thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I want to start, Lauren. This is your first time, so I want to ask you a couple of questions that may connect you with our audience. Let me start first with the question that many people may not know. Let's say that professionally people know you, but if there is one thing people may not know, if you tell them, they will say, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that. Is there any hobby, style, or anything that you are open to share, which many people may not know about you?
Sure. So the reason I do what I do, or one of the key reasons, is because way back, seems like forever ago, but it wasn't really that long ago, my then husband was deported on the return trip from our honeymoon. So if not for that happening, I probably wouldn't be in the immigration space today. And it happened, and I found my silver lining through that adversity and turned it into an opportunity to help others avoid a similar fate. So yes, my ex-husband was expeditiously removed, put in immigration jail, and subsequently deported on the return trip from our honeymoon to Thailand.
Wow, what an origin story. This is really very impactful. I mean, I can imagine how much that made you to take this as a call, as a mission in life. And thank you for sharing that. Tom, do you want to share with us if you have anything that people may not know about you, something outside of work?
Outside of work, I can't top that. I ride motorcycles all over the country. Few of us will fly into a city. June, we just did six days in Denver. Colorado. So we flew into Denver, and then you go riding around the state, up in the mountains, then in Wyoming, Montana, California. I think I'm like 40 states now on a motorcycle.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to also ask a question about the intersection between you, Lauren. You are an attorney, and also you are a professional in real estate. I want to know what leads you to mingle the two of them, because if somebody want to invest into the United States, they either buy a property or they buy a business, and you are an attorney plus you also a professional in real estate. Would you tell us a little bit about how you come to be uniquely positioned for this job?
Sure. So I'm originally from Canada, and toward the tail end of COVID, everybody wanted, or a lot of people, to get out of Canada. They were frustrated with the mask mandate and all of this. But not everybody wanted to buy a business like Tom and you are selling. And not everybody is even really appropriate to buy a business or invest in a business or expand their business. And I have a lot of people that are real estate investors and a lot of lawyers that say you cannot get a visa through real estate investing. And because of my unique approach to business, my unique approach to strategy and creativity, I created a program called How to Immigrate Through Real Estate, where I take clients through the whole journey, end to end, the whole holistic journey of figuring out how to integrate your real estate investing into a visa-friendly business. So my superpower is turning a passive real estate investor into an active real estate business owner, because in order to qualify for a visa, most visas, you need to be an active business owner, and that's my superpower.
That's awesome, awesome. Tom, in your case, also you have some intersection. Professionally, you are a business broker, but you are also a commercial real estate professional. Actually, you have CCIM, one of the top designations in commercial real estate. How did you arrive to that strategic place where you could be able to help international investors, either they want to invest in properties or in businesses?
Well, if they want to invest in property, like you said, I've got the CCIM designation, which means we can pretty much do a broker opinion of value, which is going to be awfully close to an appraisal. So we can look at properties and value them for somebody and make sure that they aren't overpaying or they're getting the right opportunity there. On the business side, which is where I'm spending most of my time, I've started putting an effort back into this last year. Now, I did this in Florida a lot of years, and we'd have people show up and attorneys we worked with that said, okay, here's a visa situation, and we'd get a business. But last year I joined EXP, and I was sitting in Miami at the annual convention, and they were bringing up people from every country that they were now in. And they'd bring up a country, and I'd go, we have a visa with them. And bring up somebody else and go, we have a treaty with them. We have a treaty with them. And I just saw this opportunity where people around the world, we have boots on the ground, so we can market there. And then because of the way EXP is structured, we can sell in pretty much all 50 states. So if somebody in Spain says, I want to move to where my aunt lives in Dallas, we can do it. And we're the only company that can. So I refocused a lot of my efforts on the business side, on the silver tsunami coming up, and the immigration.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to know the background about the two of you. Most probably you have worked together. How did you come to know each other? Have you worked on a same project so that we know if you have any kind of project you work together? Would you shed some light about your collaboration?
Pretty much, it's Lauren found me on EXP. I found her on EXP, and now we're starting down the road together to keep it to make it successful and help people. Because as many years as I've done business brokerage, as much as I know about business brokerage, the first step in any immigration purchase, any visa purchase, is the attorney. The immigration attorney needs to check how much you have to spend, what your treaty allows you to spend, and what your plans are time-wise. There are restrictions on how you can come over, on what kind of visitor visa, or can you come over on a permit. There's so many little glitches that you have to have a competent immigration attorney as your first step.
Yeah, last time, if you remember, Tom, when we were chatting, you mentioned about some people coming to the United States without following the local procedures, the law procedures, and they invest a lot of money at the end of the day when they meet.
I don't understand that. Like, just to throw something, somebody today said, I was on some Facebook group and they said, oh, why can't we just do it ourselves? And I'm thinking, why are you going to spend $150,000 on a business or more and then do this yourself and try to bootstrap it to save a few $1,000s because you don't want to use professionals, but you're taking your family and risking their future by coming to this country and you're not willing to spend the money to have professional guidance? Like, it's just like, it's completely, makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, I don't really understand that, why somebody would be penny wise and pound foolish, but too many people are.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason I would assume that partly because they have someone maybe in the United States and they may think, I trust this person, and this person may not know about the legal implications. They may not have some ideas about the treaties, the procedures, what qualifies them, what don't qualify them. Just because they have relationship, they just depend on that one. And I think it's a wrong move to spend that kind of money without first working with the professionals. That's why we are having this conversation today, and in the next month and years, we're going to have this every 2 weeks, trying to educate people to understand what it takes to succeed in the United States as a foreign investor. Let's start with the background. I want to ask Lauren, can you give us these common investor-related visas? you can tell us if there are 3, 4, 5, I don't know, but at least the common ones. And can you briefly explain what they are?
So I think the best thing is for people to go to our website, investingacrossborders.net, and you can download we call it our Visa Avatars cheat sheet. And basically that's what it is. It's a little cheat sheet that shows all of the different visas and what it takes to get them. The most common visa is the E2. That's the one that Tom was referencing when he was talking about countries qualifying. The E2 is a treaty investor visa. It is based on a treaty between the US and the investor's home country. So not every country has treaties. Canada does, Mexico, Colombia, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Israel, the UK, Argentina, the list goes on. But it's really important because a lot of people think that everybody qualifies for this visa and they don't. So you have to be from a treaty country. You have to invest a substantial amount of money into a non-marginal business. And those are not defined terms. Substantiality is based on the type of business. So let's say it's a service business, your substantial investment is going to be lower than if you're setting up a massage facility, right? So, or a cafe, for example. So we look at each business individually, and on an average, the minimum threshold we will ever work with is 100,000 investment, but it's much higher. If you're buying real estate, now you're getting an asset. So each business is different. One of the big mistakes people make is doing one size fits all, or going to some lawyer that just says, oh yeah, this will work. It's so important to buy a business that inspires your passion, because as Tom and I were talking about the other day, otherwise you're going to fail. You're going to come in the country and you're going to fail, and you're going to go packing. Your kids are going to be kicked out of school, and it's a disaster. So you have to look at this very holistically, okay? There's multiple visas that are available. The E2 is the most common. I do have a book called Finding Your Silver Lining in the Business Immigration Process, which details all of them. But again, this resource is available as a download on our webpage, investingacrossborders.net. And it's a very cute little cheat sheet. If I will try to find it while Tom is speaking for a moment, so I can show it to you.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, anyone who's interested to learn more about these different visas, you could go to the website and learn more. Tom, do you want to add anything on this one?
Absolutely. So, like she said, some people try to do it themselves, and they'll just come over to visit, right? So they'll get some sort of visitor's visa. And if you don't get the right one, if you're coming over here to do a purchase like this, you have to go home for 6 months or a year. Every country is a little bit different, but so before you even come here to start looking, you need to talk to that immigration attorney, and you need to come over on the right setup. There's steps to this, and it's, if you miss the first one and you make a mistake, it can take you a year just to go back to square one. So it's very, very crucial that you don't try and do it on your own. This is far too important to not have experts. I understand cutting your hair or doing your nails. I do. But this is not one of those things. This is one of those things where you want to pay the money and get really good professional experienced help.
It gives sense. It gives sense. Let's talk about the investment side of it. I want to learn from the legal side what people should know before they invest either in properties or businesses. And also, I know there are two types of investments. One could be active, one could be passive. I want to know the difference between the two. So I want to throw this question to you, and Tom or Lauren, you may jump in to explain for us. Tell us a little bit more about these investments. What are the common investments that are available for foreign investors? And also, what is the difference between investing actively and passively?
So I don't know exactly what you mean by the common investments. If you mean by the common types of businesses, it's all over the map.
When I say my understanding, because you know better than I do, my understanding so far from my reading is that either people invest in properties or they invest on
No, just to
businesses.
clarify, no. You
Okay.
cannot get a visa by investing in property alone. That will never work. You have to have a business. Investing in property is passive. That's the passive issue that we were mentioning. What we created is a workaround that allows us to build a business around the real estate investing that you're doing. That way you don't have to buy a pizza shop or something else. But this is a very unique approach. You can't just, otherwise people would buy $10 million properties and think they can get a visa. And unfortunately, that won't work unless you're taking that $10 million property and turning it into a bed and breakfast or some type of a business. And that's what what we do is we turn that concept into a business. We turn that idea into a viable visa business. Okay. You asked about, oh, and by the way, if I may, I have my slide and I'm going to see if I can share it. So let's see if I'm able to share screen. Okay, it's not letting me, of course, because why would it? So give me a moment, and maybe Tom, if you want to take over for a quick minute.
Sure. So there's treaties, there's visas, and there's different sizes. And then each country will have something different in their treaty. It's not as cut and dry. I know you read the things that say, okay, for an EB5, you need this much. But then there's and a whole lot of other things. And a lot of it is where somebody might have X amount of money in their country, and the treaty says you must invest this much at a maximum or a minimum, but then they'll have a maximum on the other side saying, but you can't spend more than this. So sometimes you have to do some quirky things, where they buy the business and then the next day they buy the equipment that was technically leased in the sale. There's just ways you have to go around it because each treaty is different. Every country is a little bit different. And, if you've got a whole lot of money, they don't want it to leave the country. They'd rather let you leave the country, but the money stay there. So you have to look into those. So I can't forcefully say enough that you need to get with an immigration attorney, step one, and say, here's how much I have, here's what I want to accomplish, and here's a time limit, my time range, so you can start the process.
Lauren, could you be able to share? All right, you mute. You unmute yourself.
Yeah, I understand. I'm trying to find, I know. I've been trying to find the tab. I have the tab open, but it's not letting me share the screen. So again, the best thing is to go and access the file through our website.
Okay.
The problem with contacting an immigration lawyer without having the right business broker or concept or somebody that has a business sense is that immigration lawyers want you to come to them when you already know what you're going to do. And that's where somebody like me, I'm a concierge immigration attorney, and it's an end-to-end process. That's why Tom and I are working together, because I help clients set up their businesses and create the investment, make sure you do the due diligence, get your tax ID, get your bank account, develop your business plan, and then get your visa. The visa is the end of the process. And most lawyers don't want you to come to them until you have all the other ducks in a row. So be aware of that, because they're not investment guys, they're not investment advisors. They're not going to help you with the business or the structure or the setup or all of that back end stuff. We have a 3-phase program. Our 3-phase program starts with all of the preliminary pre-visa planning, structure, setup. That's phase 1. Everything you need to figure out what you're doing in the US. Phase 2 is our business plan, which is a visa-oriented business plan focused on what it takes to get your visa, as well as your ROI, return on investment. And then our 3rd phase is the legal phase, and that's where the immigration team comes in to help to accomplish your goals, to help you to get your petition drafted, and you're prepared for your interview. So without all of that as part of your process, you're going to fail, because or you're going to be doing piecemeal and bang your head against the wall and mistakes happen. It's kind of like medication mismanagement, because one doctor doesn't know what the other doctor is doing. And it's not to say that they're not all professional, but if they're not working holistically, cohesively, then there's going to be bumps in the road and you're going to hit roadblocks.
Got it. Got it. This is very important to realize. I
All
want to
right,
say, yeah,
I'm going to cut in for
no,
a second because
sure.
I want to make clear when I said that most important, you got to get an attorney involved immediately. I meant her. She's part of our team. I wasn't saying call any of her.
I know, that's why I was clarifying. It's not because we don't want to just call anybody, because you're gonna hit. I'm telling you, if I told you how many times people call me and they're like, I hired this lawyer or I paid a retainer, and they don't have any comments on the business. Yeah, because they can't. That creates a liability for them. This is like it opens doors. They can't comment. They can review the business plan, but they can't help you with the business. Their role is to help you with the legal work. My role is to help you through the journey.
I love
As is
it. I
ours
love
with
it.
the team.
Yeah, the integration is very important. What I like about here is that both of you, they recognize the other side. You see the importance of the other side. That's very important, because if I am a lawyer and if I don't have partnership with other business brokers, I won't become resourceful to my clients, because I tell them, hey, go find a business broker and then come to me when you're done. If I'm a business broker, if I don't have immigration lawyer partner, what happens is that, hey, just go and talk to the immigration lawyer and then you come to me. What I love about here is, hey, I can help you the business brokerage side, but I want you to consult my partner. Go to Lauren, talk to her, and I will help you finding the right businesses and help you set up everything. The same thing Lauren would say, I want you first to go through the business broker and have clarity about the business. What kind of business? In your case, actually, you don't need that, because you do both the business side of it and
That's
the
not actually
legal side.
true. That's
Okay.
not actually true. I am a business broker, but I don't sell the businesses. I work with people that are experts. That's my core, I guess, bonus, is my core value, is that I'm not a jack of all trades, and I work with experts like you guys to find the right business. But let's talk about something that's a big deal and a big problem. How many times, Tom, do you see business brokers or do you see listings that say, would you mind to show the screen so I can see Tom, please? No, both of us. Is that possible? Sorry, I just want to see his reaction to that. Okay, thank you. How many times do you see somebody that puts a listing and says, E2 eligible, visa eligible, right? How many times do you see that?
Way too often, and
Okay, and what's the biggest
a lot
problem
of
you see?
times, I can look at the rest of that information on that listing, and I know it's not.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a very big deal, because way too many people just look at the number and they say, oh, because it costs this or because it costs that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I'm saying and what I see here is the knowledge and the acknowledgement that both of you have, which is, I need partners. I don't want to do this by myself. And I think that's being resourceful and very helpful to international investors, because they don't know the culture in the United States, how businesses work. And if they have a lawyer like you, who could be able to help them at least find the right business brokers. And in the case of Tom, if somebody comes to you and if you know the right immigration lawyers, because there are a lot of lawyers out there, what we're talking about is the specialty lawyers who have done this before, because we're talking about a lot of money here involving, and you don't want to go just find a generalist lawyer and then help you do that. So I'm glad that you complement to one another, which is for the benefit of the foreign investors. Any other thing you want to add before we go to?
Yeah, I'm going to add something.
Yeah.
So, listen, we go to law school. I'm sorry. I'm much better if I'm sharing the screen. If you don't mind, I don't know how to change the setting, but I'm. You go to law school and um, you're supposed to specialize, right? And lawyers do that. Most lawyers specialize. You're either corporate or you're immigration or you're criminal or you're litigation or whatever, right? My background is corporate. I became an immigration lawyer because of circumstances in my life. That is a very unique combination because I look at businesses from a different perspective. And of course, I'm also a realtor selling commercial and residential real estate, whether directly or indirectly. So it gives you a different lens to look at things. And it's a very, very important lens to consider because I'm not just going to say, oh, yeah, that thing is checked off. I'm sure it works because I have that corporate background and I know how to write operating agreements and make sure that people have their I's dotted and T's crossed. And, this is important too because not all immigration lawyers are created equally. And most of them are not also realtors and lawyers in other countries and have this scope of, like, I wrote business plans for 20 years. So it's important that that synergy is focused on because, for example, I'm not going to send, like somebody yesterday asked me about a business broker referral. So I immediately said, come tomorrow, we're doing this webinar. They said, we don't like webinars. I said, okay, I'll introduce you directly. So I told him, he said, to whom? And I said, well, it's in the flyer, but I'll introduce you to Tom. He said, well, I already met a guy in Boca and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, who is this guy? Like, what did you do to vet him? Like, how do you know he knows what he's doing? Oh, he's done a lot of E2s. I go, I don't care if he's done a lot of E2s. It doesn't mean he understands the importance of having that holistic approach. So it's a challenge because people think that A and Z are the same, and they're not. Oh, this lawyer only charges 8,000. Well, that's great, but they're not going to give you what you need. They're just going to get you like this box of whatever. So that's important to really understand and be cognizant of too.
I like the fact that you emphasize the importance of becoming resourceful because I meet a lot of people. They tell me that, hey, I'm a CPA. I just want to focus on just CPA stuff. I'm a lawyer. I'm just focused on my specialty. I'm a business broker. I just find you business. Don't just bother me about anything else. Hey, I'm a doctor. I want to only focus on this one. But the reality is many of the tasks, they're going to be handled by AI. And unless we are resourceful to go above and beyond to serve our clients by becoming resourceful, at least know a little bit about what our clients need and have partners to help them, I think this is a disservice to our clients. And I'm happy to meet two of you who understand the importance of becoming resourceful. Before we move on, I want to ask one question. Maybe this is for Tom. Which visa mostly these foreign investors use, the E2, the E5, and also I know there are two types of investment vehicles. Earlier, Lauren also mentioned about the active and the passive. Either you directly actively invest or you work with regional centers and invest passively. Tom, from your experience as a business broker, which one is commonly happening with your clients?
In my world, it's always E1 and E2s. I've not done an EB5 because that's more the investment passive, and that's not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is businesses.
You mentioned E1, which Laura, maybe you can give us a difference between E1, E2, and EB5.
Yeah, so I can, but it's not a quick fix. I sent you the download, the chart. I don't know if you can access it on your WhatsApp. So an E1 is based on trade. So you have to have a business that's doing extensive trade with the US, at least 100,000 on an average per year for at least 2 to 3 years, and that's going to continue to be at that level. Then EB5 is an 800,000 or 1.05 million investment. It is a green card. You can invest directly or indirectly depending on the business and I can't do this in 5 minutes. We should do probably a session on each of these visas. But EB-5 is a direct path to a green card, but you have to create 10 jobs. So it's complicated. And I also have a little video that you're welcome to share with the people that are watching this that we can share another time when we talk more about it. There's a lot of businesses that Tom might sell that could qualify for EB-5 and a green card. I also wanted to add something really important. You mentioned that people are coming to this country and they don't know how to run businesses here. And this is definitely a common problem. Because they think everything is the same as it was in their home country, and it's not. It's not even remotely the same. Even from Canada, my home country, to here, it's not the same. So we actually have a fractional C-suite service business that we recently launched to be able to provide that range of services, like the operations, the infrastructure, the setup, the marketing, the legal, all of the finance back office for the companies. Even if they're buying a company, they may not know how to run a company here, right? You can't just think that it's exactly the same as whatever you know, or that you come into some, let's say, I don't know, let's say a laundromat. It's not that hard to run, but you need some training. You need to have a structure, and you need to know what you're doing, and you need to have some financial modeling. So that's why we created this fractional C-suite service business, to be able to provide that service to our clients.
Yeah, I love that you emphasize this. Whenever I talk to people, there is one thing that may not immediately come to picture for them, which is if I'm successful, for example, in my hometown, in my country, I may not be able to succeed in another country. There are some factors, the cultural factors, and there are system differences, and also there are laws, regulations, and so many complications. That's why you cannot translate whatever you have in your hometown into another country, into another culture, and in another setup. And that understanding and giving them that kind of comprehensive services is very helpful for international investors. Tom, do you want to add anything on this?
No, you said that pretty well. There's not a whole lot I can tag on that one.
All right. I want to bring it up. If it takes too much time, just give us highlight. First, Lauren, and then Tom. One of the questions I get about, actually, I had someone who reached out to me. Hey, I want to know how it works. This person, he is from Dubai, and he
From where? Dubai?
Dubai, yes, and he wanted to invest to the United
Dubai
States.
is not, so Dubai, so he would not qualify for an E2 if that's the only, if he only has a UAE passport. There is no E2 for the UAE.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the first kind of qualification. You check if it's an E2 country.
Yeah, he's not looking for E2, by the way. He was interested in passive investment. The questions I asked him is, okay, how many investment do you have? How much involved do you want to be? Just to figure out who I should connect with. Actually, I set up a time with Tom, and this person, he was flying back to Dubai. He couldn't be able to make it to our Zoom chat, but I set up a discussion with Tom. This person was sure that I cannot be active investor. What I want to do is I want to
That is true without a visa. He is correct. You cannot be, well, you can be an active investor, but you can't be running a business actively without a visa.
Okay.
So you can own property, you can own a business in the US, no matter pretty much where you're from, except for restricted countries, but you can't run it. You can't be here operating it. You don't get status just because you own a business. You have to actually apply for a visa. So it's not automatic.
Yeah, unless there is treaty between the two countries. In that case,
no, it's still not automatic.
Okay.
There's no automatic visa. You have to go through the application process. There's nothing automatic except for the visitor visa, depending on, again, where you're from. So
is that also true for E2?
It's true for any. You do not have status in this country without a visa. You don't.
Okay.
You have status as a visitor potentially, but that's it. There's no business visa, even for Canadians. There's no business visa that's granted to you just because you're here or just because you own a business. And actually, if anything, right now, they're being much stricter when you own a business or you own property. So, like, for example, if you're crossing the border from Canada and you're driving in to go visit your property in upstate New York, they might not let you without a visa. So that's going to change. So you're going to need a visa to be able to even visit your properties going forward. So as of this very moment, you don't need a visa to own a business or property in the US, but to operate or to maybe visit or to expand or to develop, get that visa, because you know what? Most of these visas are not residency visas. So what that means is you can have it and still live in your home country, but have the freedom to go
Yeah.
back and forth. And that's so important as you're developing and growing your business.
Yeah, good to know. Thank you for explaining that. Before we go there, still, I want to give the opportunity maybe for Tom or you, Lauren, is can you give us a little bit highlight the difference between passive and active investment? We'll come back again another time to dive deeper, but just for the sake of understanding for people who are watching here, can you tell us what it means between active and passive investor?
In my mind, you're active, you're running a business. If you're passive, you bought a building and you've got a property management company that's kind of running it for you, collecting the rent, paying the bills and sending you the profits. That's
If of course, I will be standing to be corrected if I'm wrong. From my reading, I read that there are regional centers.
Now, regional centers are only connected to green card to EB5s. A regional center is a conduit that allows you to invest passively in a project and get your green card. That's the only truly passive investment that allows you to access a green card. Okay?
All right, good to know. Which means these regional centers, like fund, they do the investing, everything. The
No,
only
they
thing
don't do the investing. Regional
what do they
centers
do?
sponsor projects. Projects pay them, or
Ah,
they maybe the regional center has an ownership interest. They sponsor projects that they are a conduit to allow the project to raise money with it by including direct and indirect jobs in the job creation numbers. This is
okay.
not a simple, quick, easy explanation. The video, I'm going to share it with you and with Tom because I think you guys need to review this video so you really understand the scope of the two options for EB5. One is direct. I create 10 jobs, I invest directly in the business, I've set up a business, whatever. The second is indirect. That's almost like Tom was talking about, that you own the building, but in this case, you might own a limited partnership share in the project. You don't actually tangibly own anything, but you are investing to get a green card. And that investment correlates to the creation of jobs.
Yes, got it. So these regional centers, they are like representing you. They are fund or private equity or partnerships. They invest into something which is out there on those qualified funds or syndications and create jobs. But your job is to give them money. What I would love to do going forward is maybe we can pick one of these topics that we covered so far and just focus on that one. If there are some audience members who are interested, if they have a case, it would be powerful because we can use them if they are open. We're not giving them legal advice or business brokerage advice, but for educational purposes, they may come up with some questions. I'm open if anyone who is interested to come and join us and ask questions. Maybe we can just pick one of the topics, dive deeper as much as we could. There are limitations to do that live, but that's, I think, powerful. Next time, for example, we just pick E1 or E2 or EB5 or active investment or passive investment. But thank you for providing the background. We'll come back
So
again.
I just want to clarify that unfortunately, due to my restrictions as a lawyer, it would be super challenging for me to give all of the details
Okay.
outside of what's included in my book and in the materials that I share because I can't. So I think what would be better is to talk maybe with Tom about projects or business opportunities that work really well for visas and why. Like, I like pets and elderly and kids because they're pretty much recession proof, and healthcare, right? So what businesses, what makes a business qualify for a visa? E1, you're not going to get an E1 by investing in a business because an E1 is based on trade. So if you buy a business and you trade with your home country, then after a couple of years, you could qualify for an E1, but you can't get an E1 to invest in a US business because it's based on trade, bilateral, not one way.
Oh, got it, got it. These are really very, very helpful insights that you were sharing, and I'm sure as a lawyer, you have to be careful. You have in a profession which is highly regulated. I understand. I may ask because I don't have any idea about which ones you could elaborate, which ones, but I give you the permission. You can always tell me, Easy, I'm not answering your question, or you can just give us generic information. But I'm behaving on behalf of my audience, trying to ask
Right.
these questions.
It's not even about,
yeah.
I don't have a choice. So.
Yeah, I got it. You know better than I do in terms of where we know we don't need to cross the line. Tom, do you want to jump in? You have anything you want to add?
When I first talk to somebody or talk to an attorney or talk to somebody who's called me about it, my first questions are what country are they coming from and how much money do they have to invest and what are they trying to accomplish? And from there, they may have to find more money to come in to hit what they want to accomplish. Like we just found out about Dubai, they don't qualify for some things. They don't have some treaties. So those are the first things. And then we go to the immigration attorney. Then we go to Lauren and we say, okay, here's where they're coming from. Here's what they have. What options do we have? Some people don't want to work. Some people do want to work. And then you kind of narrow it down to get them what they need to get here.
Just to ask a question, are there any businesses that are specifically qualified for investor visa, or it's dependent on? Okay. So there is no.
And the only restriction is that it cannot be an illegal business. It cannot be operating in, like, for example, cannabis is not federally legal.
Or drug.
Pardon me? Right. So you can't work in a business that's illegal, or you can't work in like porn, for example, although you could probably get a workaround, but for the most part, almost any business could qualify, but it doesn't mean that it does.
All right, got it. Let's quickly address one thing, which is, so far as you can see, you are complementing to each other, one covering one thing, another one covering another thing. For the audience to understand the difference between a business broker and lawyer and when to bring who and when, we touched it earlier, but I want to quickly give you a chance to clarify for us who does what and when should you bring the other party into the partnership. I can start with Tom. Okay, just quickly, what is your role? What's the role of a lawyer you bring in, and when you actually bring them?
Okay, I said this last on our other podcast the same. So when somebody contacts me, I ask those questions: what are you trying to accomplish? How much money do you have? What country you're from? And then I get with the immigration attorney. It's a team. We're going to run that train down the track simultaneously. She needs to watch the legal part for that treaty and what the requirements and restrictions are for what they're trying to accomplish. I'll find a business that fits. Make sure that it has the right numbers. The tax returns can back up everything. That it is not going to be a waste of everybody's time, that it is legal, right? It's not a cannabis type thing. And we work together. And sometimes there's ways to actually get loans, SBA loans, before and after closing. So we can make this process work. But from day one, I'm going to bring her in because we don't want to make that first wrong step. And then it's a teamwork all the way down.
Awesome. Lauren, you have a question here. Blanca, thank you for your comment and question. This question is directly to Lauren. This is, do you have a newsletter?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So your best bet is to go to investingcrossborders.net download the resources, the visa avatars download, and then you will automatically be subscribed to our newsletter.
All right, before we finish for today, we have given general information for our audience. We'll come back. We had some noise issue with StreamYard. We're going to fix it next time so that it doesn't happen. We apologize if in case you had any difficulty about the background noise. But next time when we come, we're going to pick a specific topic. If you are interested in watching right now or the replay, we encourage you to forward to us which topic do you want us to cover next. In 2 weeks, we're coming back again, and we're going to focus on one topic. So if you have any question or suggestion about topic, reach out, and we would love to cover that. Before we close, I want to give each one of you the opportunity to make the final words. I'm going to start with Lauren. Is there any final word that you'd like to say? And also where people can find you?
Yeah, sure. So don't try to do this yourself, okay? We are a team, and there's a reason we do what we do. You can reach me. Everything I do is branded, other than my new brand, which is Elevera Global, which is the C-suite fractional services. Everything we do is branded under Investing Cross Borders. Our email is hello@investingcrossborders.net, hello@investingacrossborders.net, and you can find us pretty much everywhere through that brand. Again, my cautionary note is don't try to do this yourself because you're going to fail and there's too much at stake.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. You have a lot of resources. I went to your website. You've had a lot of podcasts, a lot of downloads, a lot of resources. If you are here or watching this replay, and if you want to learn more about how to be successful to come to the United States and invest, look for Lauren and her team. They are at the top, and you want to start working with them before you start anything else. Tom, I want to give you the same chance. Your last word, and also, where can people find you?
Okay. I'm going to echo what she said. Like I said, all the way through, that's the first step. You got to get it right. So if somebody calls me, I'm going to get the basic information, and I'm going to call her, and we're going to start working together. I'm easy to reach. www.businessacquisition.com. Email is tom@businessacquisition.com or team@businessacquisition.com regarding immigration. I've been around long enough. I actually have the URL, Business Acquisition.
Thank you, both of you, for coming. I know how much busy you are. You squeezed your schedule to be here. On behalf of my audience, I want to say thank you. We look forward also to invite you again to work together on a twice per month basis with new and specific topics. To those of you who have been watching live and also watching this in replay, I want to thank you for watching here. We appreciate you if you support the podcast by liking, commenting, and also reposting, sharing to other people who may benefit. If you have any questions, suggestions, please reach out. Until I see you next time, have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.